right, Homesteader family, welcome back to the journey. Welcome to this edition of the Sunday Monday vlog for you Anatolian Shepherd lovers out there. You can see Minnie Mouse is passed out from being at the homestead for a little bit today. Max has pretty much had it. Chubbs is up there chilling on Bone. And good old Mickey Mouse is back there doing his thing, sleeping. So, we had the snowball stand going today. And business is dead. So for those of you that know about different areas, how the economy is dropping out, it definitely is dropping out here in Arkansas. I had the people from Barbecue Place next door come over today to get some snowballs. And they said their business is going slower as well. And I said, yeah, I've seen the parking lot is empty sometimes. And sometimes even at dinner time, you only see one or two cars over there. Normally this time of year, their parking lot is packed. Welcome back to you, DT. Hope you're doing good down there in Georgia. But yeah, so snowballs, I'm definitely, I won't say definitely, but most likely going to be closing the snowball stand up the end of June. Because it's all that. Yeah, friends, recall, I was late because of you. Somebody wanted to call and talk about stuff at the homestead. But anyhow, I think for sure I'm closing the end of June. If business picks up, I might do a little longer. But as of right before Memorial Day weekend, from March when I opened up until the weekend before Memorial Day weekend, I was at $254 for a couple months. So it's just, I'm just eating up money, paying electric, water, everything else. It's just not going to be worth it. So most likely still closing the end of June. Be done with that. Now I'm going to be working over at the homestead. As you saw in my picture, I've got blueberries out at the homestead. I've been eating those while I'm working on fencing, trying to get some fencing done. Of course, it's hot, humid, ticks, flies, you name it. Pain in the butt, but things got to get done on the homestead, so I'm going to be getting things done. If I do for sure close down June 30th, I will be doing more videos on a regular basis over at the homestead while I'm over there doing different things. I know in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, they're talking about we're being the mid to upper 90s and then getting ready to going into July, going into around the hundreds again. So at that point, I'll probably be down at the river. I'll start filming videos when I go out and do different things. But they're going to be edited videos. They won't be live streamed due to the fact that there's no reception down at the river. So you get a little bit of different things going on. A lot more content, a lot more videos for you guys. Like I said, I want to get around St. Joe as well, get some different pictures. Pictures of the animals. I got to relearn how to edit videos. I want to do intro again. I want to do the ending again and get all that set up. And then, like I said, once I'm living at the homestead, I'll be able to do some live streams of the animals while I'm living there. I'll be able to do a whole lot more once I'm on the homestead. But closing down snowball stand, that's going to free up a lot more time. I'm not going to have to worry about that. For part of this summer, I'm going to start ripping walls and floors and everything out of here at the restaurant to fix this crappy plumbing, B, seal up some different things. I also want to tear out the kitchen that's back there where I cut the holes in the floor where I was trying to find the valves. There's a concrete step under there I found, so I don't even have to build a stair to get down to the bottom floor. So I think I'm going to tear out the whole entire kitchen, take it right back down to the concrete slab like it was before whoever decided to build a room that's only 6 foot 9 inches tall. So that way it's a lot bigger room. And then once I fix all the plumbing, I'll be able to get back here. I'm going to rip out the bathroom. I'm going to rip out the tub. I'm going to get all that stuff moved. And then before winter comes, I'm going to change up a little bit of what I've decided to do. I've been buying, or I wasn't gonna buy anything because this winter I wanted to put all my money into fencing. But now that I'm not saving money right now, I'm spending money on fencing. As you guys saw in the short, I bought all those T-posts. I had the rolls of fencing. Next month, I'm going to buy a bunch of pressure treated posts so I can do more H braces going across the next fence line up along Gregory Lane. Then this winter, or this fall, I should say, not winter, but this fall, I'm going to buy a whole bunch of rolls of insulation, and I'm going to insulate the ceiling up here. So that way, at least that will help hold some of the heat from going right out. And I'm going to do a little bit of changing in here. I might re-rip the plywood off the walls that I hung last year and try to do some type of seal to the outside, because as you saw in the video before the plywood, you can see daylight through the wall. So I don't know if I'm going to buy big rolls of plastic and just plastic the cubby holes for now and then put insulation and then put the plywood back up. But I'm definitely going to change something this winter because I burned through a lot of wood last year. And I know I have a lot of wood on the homestead, but I don't want to burn through all the wood that I'm burning through. I'd rather do less. So I might just put plastic poly in the walls this fall, do the insulation in the wall, put the plywood back up, and then I can pull the plastic out when I rip the outside off and redo this building. But that way, that will save me some work from having to cut as much firewood, the strain of hauling firewood, unloading it here, moving it through to the side here, and then lifting, putting in a stove, so on and so forth. For those of you that don't have a wood stove or don't do a wood fire, you don't know that one piece of wood is moved a dozen times in between the process, between cutting the tree down, cutting it up into logs, moving the log to split it, grabbing the wood if you split it or keep it small like I do, then you stack it somewhere, or in my case, load it onto a trailer to bring to a restaurant, to unload out there, to bring over here, to bring back in, to pick back up and put in the stove. So it's a lot of work. Gonna use the wool, otherwise the plastic might make insulation mold. Yeah, I'm using the rock wool. Yeah, I won't use fiberglass in Arkansas because of the moisture out here. And I'm not going to do the spray foam because now I know the spray foam is highly flammable. So that's out. Same thing with the styrofoam boards. I'm not using those in the restaurant as well. A, they're more expensive than the rock wool. And B, they're highly flammable as well. And this building is wood. That's why with my rock house I'm building, I'm doing the styrofoam boards, but it's in between 1.5 feet of rock on both sides. So there's no possibility of that catching fire. If it catches fire, it's inside the rock. It's not going to matter. But I'm going to do something for this winter. But for those of you that saw the picture for the video, if you're buying homesteading land, if you're going to homestead, if you are homesteading, the question you should be asking yourself is if your land is producing on its own. So that twig of blueberries that I had at my mouth, I've been eating blueberries because where I'm doing fencing along Purdom Lane, where the forestry mulcher came out last year and did all the forestry mulching last fall, that whole swath is popped up with blueberries. Of course, there's blackberries, raspberries, all that type of stuff out here as well. The plum trees, the persimmon trees, the pawpaw trees, and a bunch of other trees I don't know about. The mulberry trees, stuff like that. My homestead is producing more and more food. The more I'm on the land, looking at things and realizing things. So I'm out there doing fencing as I'm walking back and forth, putting T-posts and stuff like that. I'm seeing color at my feet. Reds, whites, blues, pinks, and stuff like that. Well, it's the blueberries that start out white, green, and they change colors as they get to the dark blue. So I'm not doing anything on my homestead. I'm not buying fruit. I'm not buying fruit trees. I'm not buying fruit bushes. I'm not buying any of this, and it's growing naturally. Like I showed Steve out on the homestead, there's different pink and green plants. They're from Asia. They're very invasive. I can't think of a name right now, but they're very edible. It's just like greens. And you can cook it up, you can eat it raw, you can do whatever, but it's all over the homestead. And that's what you should be looking at for your homestead. If you're going to buy a homestead, you want to make sure it's land. Now, you know, this is Arkansas. This is one of the reasons why I can't. Tatsasoy. I don't know, Steve. I don't know. I forget what I told you it was. You have to look it back up, or just go out on the homestead and look for it, and then take picture and Google Lens it. But this is another reason why I advocate to come to Arkansas, because it's subtropical. For those of you that are stuck in concrete, asphalt jungle cities, you know everything's a weed that grows. You only want concrete and asphalt around. Why? Because that's what you're taught. But the more life forms, the more variety of species, and the different forms of life there are, the more valuable the area is. That's why the Amazon jungle has the most life, has the most bugs, the most snakes, the most frogs, the most plants, trees, etc., because that's where life is. Arkansas is subtropical. We're not tropical, but we're subtropical, and we have a lot of different species. We have all different trees. I forget what I looked up, but I think Arkansas has like 158 different woody species. Just here in Arkansas, 158 different species. That's a big difference from Colorado. That was a lot less. Same thing with the frogs here. We have bullfrogs, we have tree frogs, we have all different types of tree frogs, all different types of toads, salamanders, snakes, etc. I mean, there's so much life here. And along with that life is food sources. And that's where the blueberries are coming in, the fruit trees are coming in, the different, like dandelions. A lot of people in the city consider dandelions weeds. That's edible. Cattails in ponds. A lot of people don't think that's edible. There's so many different forms of food. And like Steve just got in the mail a book for here in Arkansas on all the edible species. That's another thing I was looking at getting. But since Steve's right down the street now, I don't have to worry about buying my own book because he's got his book now. But you should go for your area and order a book, a hard copy book, not a digital book, because if you don't have batteries, if you don't have the internet, if you don't have power, if something happens, you have the book. And in a survival situation, you're not going to have that stuff. And what would be even better is if you can get a plastic film book or something where the pages aren't prone to damage to water. Wax paper or cellophane or whatever they used to seal the pages in back in the day. But if you can get a plastic carded book or whatever where the pages can't get damaged, laminate it. Thank you, DT. Of course, the boomer comes up with the word because that's the boomer terminology, laminate it. I was trying to find that boomer intelligence from back in the day, the wording. But yes, laminate it. If you can laminate your books or find a laminated book, or like I said, find one that's just straight plastic, not laminated, that can survive mold, mildew, water damage, insects eating it, mice and stuff like that chewing things up. I know plastic, they want to chew it, but anything to protect what could protect you. Because by using that book, you can compare. And that's like when I found the blueberries, Steve came down, looked in his book. We compared the plant, the berries, and everything to the book. And voila, it's wild blueberries. And then Steve went back to his place, and I ate one. And then I texted him, I said, is it normal for my face to feel numb? And I was giving him a little bit of jazz about that. But that reminded me of a boomer movie when I was little, growing up, where little kids were with a pirate or something. They got stranded on a beach, and the old man died, and he told the kids, don't eat these berries. And the kids built a bamboo big thing on the island, and they ended up falling in love and then fighting each other or something like that. And then they ended up eating the berries out on a makeshift boat trying to leave the island. And that's how they ended themselves. But that reminded me of that when I ate the first blueberry. Because unless you definitely know what you're eating, like they taught us in survival school, you don't eat something just because you think. If you don't 100% know that it's edible, you don't eat it. But because we verified it with the book that Steve bought, I was comfortable eating the berry. And now that the one berry, of course, a small amount can kill you. Small amount of anything, toxin, can do that to you. So that one berry could have been the end. Just like Steve said about the movie Into the Wild up in Alaska with the guy that ate the wrong plant that looked similar. It was the wrong plant. And that was the end of him. That's how simple it can be. You don't have to eat a lot of anything. You can just touch it to your tongue. And depending on the potency of the poison, it can do that. But I only ate one the first day. It was fine. Now, every day I'm out there fencing, if I see some, I am having a lot of deer and a lot of baby fawns in the area. And now I know why, because it's all blueberries. So they're eating the blueberries. I'm eating the blueberries. The good news in Arkansas, 99% of them, even poisonous, won't likely kill you. Well, and see, Steve's read the book. I haven't read the book. He's got the book. So I haven't researched all that. I know the very easy tradition of pine trees. You can cut the bark off, get the white film between the wood and the bark. It's like the xylem or something like that. Native Americans survived on that in pine needle soup and teas and stews. And you can survive because there's enough nutrients in that and pine needles to survive, along with some meat intake. So you gotta get rabbits or squirrels, stuff like that. But I know the basics and different leaves, dandelions. We have plantain here. I know those different plants from my survival school that are pretty much everywhere. Yes, only some of them, Steve. I know that as well. You can't do the ponderosa pine. And there's another one that is highly toxic as well. But I know the basics from survival school. Now, of course, my survival school wasn't in Arkansas, so everything is different. Yes, lodgepole. But lodgepole is also a high elevation, so most of my survival was never high elevation, so I never dealt with that. But yeah, so you got to watch out. But my main point is, if you're going to buy homesteading land, you want to buy something that's going to be not necessarily fertile, because the land here in Arkansas, though everything grows very well, the soil is not very fertile. If you put stuff in the ground here, you're going to have to fertilize it. That's why everybody says around here, if you want to put in grass, you're going to have to fertilize it. If you want good, healthy vegetable gardens, which people have here, you're going to have to fertilize. So what a lot of people here do, they drive up through Harrison to, I want to say Berryville, where I believe some of the chicken houses are, and people will go get truckloads of chicken litter. Some of the big farmers here this year, well, last couple years, because fertilizer prices are so high, they've ordered big semi-loads of chicken manure to come in, just put chicken manure over all their hay fields, because that's a cheaper fertilizer. And they do it in the springtime before everything starts growing, so it doesn't burn everything up. And then by summertime, the grass gets really tall, really thick. So if you don't buy fertile land, remember, you're going to possibly need your own livestock. But with that livestock is going to come high prices, like I'm paying for feed and everything else, medical care, fly spray, I'm going through a lot of bottles of horse fly spray right now. Um, Permetherin's not working real well for the flies. Works very well for the ticks. But for flies, you got to buy the expensive the horse fly spray to actually work. Um, it's a snowball effect. So if you don't buy fertile land, you might want to consider buying fertile land. But if you buy fertile land, you might not have things like here in Arkansas that you have blueberry bushes, plum trees, pawpaws, and all that type of stuff. So I just want to make a quick video. This isn't going to be an hour-long video. This is my end of this Sunday, Monday vlog. But I want you to contemplate, before you buy, build a fly trap. DT, I got so much other stuff on my plate. You're more than welcome to come out do a fly trap. And I don't think a fly trap would work. And I'll tell you this reason. I bought a bunch of the fly bags that hold like 10,000 flies that have the stinky bait in. And I hung them all over the place. And they fill up in a day. And the next day, there's just as many flies. I don't know what it is about Arkansas, but I had around here, around the restaurant, I had all the flies because with the snowball stand, having the back window open, the snowball room kept filling with flies. And I had the clear, sticky fly things that I put on doors and walls and everything else, and they fill with flies. And it don't matter. I don't know if there's a fly trap that can do it all, but it seems here in Arkansas you can't get rid of flies. And that's the crappy part because the horse flies are bad here, the green flies that bite, and then there's a gray like striped fly that bites. And being out there doing fencing right now, it's no fun because you're down there doing something with your pliers and some wire, lands on your neck, bites your neck, you swing back, and you think it's gone, and the second you go to do something again, you feel zzz, and it's right back on your neck again. Or it's the next one, or next one, next one. Along with the ticks crawling up your legs and everything else. So it's just one of those things here in Arkansas you got to cave, you got to deal with. Like I was telling Steve a little while ago, I just sprayed my body, my skin. I sprayed my skin with the permethrin. I dilute it down to the 1 ounce. I actually do a little bit more now because I'm used to it. It says 1 ounce per 1 gallon of water. I do just over an ounce for a gallon of water because at an ounce, it doesn't quite kill the ticks right away. But just going slightly over that ounce to 1 gallon, I came home yesterday. Out of 32 ticks I had attached to me, I sprayed my thighs down, socks and everything, wearing shorts, and I had 1 tick on my waist, and that tick was alive. Somehow it didn't hit any of the permethrin, but the 31 ticks that were attached were dead on my legs and my thighs and my ankles and my feet that climbed down inside the socks. So I know the permethrin works because every time I'm out there and I come home, they're all dead. They're attached, but they're dead. So that's the great thing. If you don't have a live tick, they're not feeding. You don't have to worry about it. And like I've told Steve, and he knows this now from being here, is you check in the evening when you get done, and you check in the morning when you wake up. So that way, every 12 hours you're covered because, yes, some ticks take longer than 12 hours, but you check every 12 hours, you can't get a disease because it takes a minimum of 12 hours for the disease to transmit from the tick into you. So if they're dead and attached and you might not catch one, I'd rather have them dead and attached and not transmitting anything than being alive and transmitting while things are happening. So with that, get out there, find the perfect property. If you're on your perfect property, I commend you because I can't wait to get to mine. I'm not like Steve, the Homesteading family and stuff like that are on the land they want to be on. Slowly but surely, I'm going to be working there. Like I said, June 4th, snowball stand's almost closed. I'm almost where I can start getting more stuff done. Good night to you, DT. Have a great night. Have a great week. But slowly but surely, the end of this month, I'll be able to start getting a lot more work done on the homestead because my goal right now is get to the homestead, get things done, get things motivated. Because even though it's only a couple hours a day during this heat, at least I'm making progress. And little progress after little progress makes bigger progress. And the quicker things get done, the quicker I'll be able to get there. So these couple hours I'm putting in where I'm not doing the snowball stand is just that much more time coming closer to getting moved over there. So with that, remember, live happy, live free. That's the only way to be. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you guys again. Take care.